And we're live. Welcome to my channel. Ron Harris, former online editor of MD, former senior writer of MD, and now back on my own, like I was for many, many years. So today's the day before Thanksgiving. Those of you in the United States know this is a big holiday for us. Really celebrating the first Thanksgiving, the first winter that the Pilgrims made it through alive, I guess, over in Plymouth Plantation. So we all get together and eat a lot of food, and typically a lot of people like to watch football on that day. But I think it's a good opportunity for a lot of us just to give thanks, to sit back and think about what we're grateful for. And it's a lot easier to complain and to worry and talk about what you don't have, what you wish you had, what someone else has, and be envious or jealous. But it's a much healthier way of thinking and looking at life, to count your blessings, to have an attitude of gratitude, because we all have so much to be grateful for, and you don't even realize it a lot of times until these things are taken away from you. This has been it's been a story of my life and all your lives. I'm sure every time you lost something that you just sort of took for granted, you gained a whole new level of appreciation for it. Just recently, I tore my quadricep on August 30th, had surgery September 4th. Today is Wednesday. So today is actually 12 weeks to the day of my quad tear, 12 weeks. And yesterday was 11 weeks to the day of the surgery. I'd never had a situation where I couldn't walk before in my life at 50. I was 53. Yeah, I turned 54 with all this happening. Never had my mobility taken away from me. It's something I took for granted. Things just walking around, driving a car, getting in a car and driving where you want to go, going up and down stairs. Took it all for granted until I couldn't. And then I realized, wow, what a gift it is just to be able to walk. And, I've been paying more attention, not that I never did, to people in wheelchairs that will never walk again. And just being so grateful, especially I was at the Olympia weekend in Orlando a couple weeks ago. I saw the wheelchair bodybuilding. These are people that will never walk again in their lives. And a lot of them had full function of their legs prior to some terrible injury or accident, something that happened to them. I was looking at them, and anyone I saw that was, in a wheelchair and couldn't walk, and thinking, yeah, I can't walk normally now, but I'm in a leg brace and I'm walking. And in a few weeks, couple months, whatever, I'll be walking normally again. And these people never will. So something like that. And even, just a silly little thing like being able to drive a car instead of waiting around for my wife or my son to get home from work to drive me. Just little things like that. And, this whole situation with MD going away, I could sit here and cry and be bitter and say, wow, I wish we had more notice. I would have had time to find a job, or wow. But I have so much to be grateful for. I had almost 7 years full-time with MD, 22 years as a writer in total. And I've had a great career, and MD gave me a lot of opportunities, gave me a lot of chances to, establish connections with people. I met so many amazing people that I call friends, colleagues, associates. And I never would have had that if I had never taken that position. So nothing but gratitude for the time that I had with MD. It also allowed me, the company downsized over the last few years. It allowed me to sort of become the face of MD. People didn't see too many other employees. Actually, I'm the only one they ever saw because of the videos. I thank people like Jen. I thank people like Giles Thomas. Made my job so much easier, more fun. It's always better when you can look forward to working with people that you can call friends versus, I'm sure a lot of you have worked with people that you either, have no feelings toward, or in some cases, maybe you couldn't stand them or they couldn't stand you. And that's a pretty hostile work environment. I haven't had that. I've been very, very fortunate and blessed to work with people that share my passion, people that love what they do. And, we all support each other and encourage each other, especially now that we're all sort of looking for the next thing that we're doing. And we're all in the works of establishing, new things that we're going to be doing. But I want to start off with some of these questions. Let's see. So a guy named, so these were all posted shortly before we went live. So yeah, it's no secret my family No. So he's saying that, yeah, my whole family works out. Yeah, I met my wife in a gym in fall of 1989. We started dating in December of 1989. So she was already working out. She'd been working out for a couple of years. She was only 18 years old. I had just turned, I don't know if I met her before my birthday or after my birthday. I think it was before. So I was either 19, about to turn 20, or just turned 20 when I met her. But she was already working out. You know, she was into it. She had bought a Soloflex machine. For those of you who know what that is, it was an old like multi-station thing that had these thick rubber bands for resistance. She had bought one of those. I never saw it. I think she had sold it by the time I met her. But she had little weights, and she was into working out for a few years. So, and of course, we have two children. My daughter, who's 29, Marisa, not so much into working out. She likes classes, exercise classes. My son, Christian, is 24, very much into training, very much into, he's all natural. He's drug-free. I'm keeping him that way. I would feel awful if he started using gear, PEDs, whatever you want to call them, and developed further health problems, because he's already been diagnosed a couple of years, 2 or 3 years ago, with ulcerative colitis, which he's on medication for. It's made it hard for him to gain weight, but he's actually had a real breakthrough since he returned from Australia, where he was he was there for the last semester of college. And since he came back and has been living at home with us and eating 5, sometimes 6 meals a day, in addition to the post-workout shake, he's gone from about 140 to about 160 pounds in the span of, that was like end of June. So he's only been back a few months. He's put 20 pounds on. It's not all muscle, of course, but it's for somebody that was stuck at the same basic body weight for years, you can't complain about that. So family is definitely the one thing, and that's why I have my wife in the thumbnail. The one thing I'm most grateful for in my life is my family, because jobs come and go, friends will come and go. The only thing that's going to be constant in your life really is your family. If you're blessed to have a life partner, a significant other, a spouse, whatever you want to call them, who really does love you genuinely and sincerely, for better or worse, in sickness and in health, that's gold. That's so rare these days. And these kids, blessed with 2 amazing kids, they're adults now, but I still call them kids. They're always going to be my babies. Hearts of gold, just like their mom. And I never lost my wife, but we came close. I'll be honest, guys. We were married 32 years this past June. 91, 92. Yeah, 32 years. And we've had our ups and downs. We've had more than a few occasions where she came close to divorcing me. I never came close to divorcing her, but she did. What's this? Your whole family, speaking of power couples who get divorced after a while. Oh, I didn't even see that. I was talking about, maybe I saw it like out of the corner of my eye, but started talking about divorce. So yeah, coming very close to losing my wife, who's had my back. She's been with me when we had a lot of money. She's been with me when we had no money. The last time that I was out of work was right after I'd been fired from my TV production job. I think it was 1998. I was writing, but it wasn't like consistent. I didn't have enough regular workload from the magazines to pay our bills. Although I was always writing, there was never a point where I wasn't working at all. But she was the one who was working full time still. 98, 99. I got into I had to be a personal trainer for about a year and a half. And once we moved back here to Boston in fall of 2001, what year did we come back? 2000. Ever since then, I've been a full-time writer. And then, I was writing for many, many different magazines, but Steve Leckman gave me an opportunity, which I'm very grateful for, January 2017, to be the senior writer for the magazine and the online editor. And I didn't have to work, although I enjoyed working for many, many different magazines and different people. This time I had a full-time job, just had to work for one person. I knew exactly what I was going to do every week. It did become eventually kind of repetitive and stuff. So in a way, this is a blessing, because now, honestly, I was in a rut. I've been doing the same thing day after day, week after week, month after month. The magazine, we had deadlines every month. We'd have an editorial meeting toward the beginning of the month, and then it was like a race to get all the features done, the athlete columns done, stuff like that. So this is the first time in a very long time that I haven't had to worry about magazine deadlines. There are really no magazines anymore. MD was the last. Muscle Fitness did come back with a quarterly edition. So maybe that's something I could do. I don't know. So all these comments are from the same gentleman. Lifestyle nutrition, will have a life, family, and cheerful parenthood. Yeah, so I put this up today in hopes that some of you guys could talk about what you're grateful for, because if you think about it, we all have so much we're grateful for. Pull the odds for different demography than your videos because your past and principles are the Bible and demography. Every couple could learn from you too. Yeah, that could be my niche, the middle-aged bodybuilder with old ass runs and run lines, reports, and post-show analysis. Good feeling. You have much more to bring a channel that I cover it. Yeah, I mean, I want to get this channel. I am going to get this channel going. Get the subs up. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Helps me out. Like the video, share the video. Yeah, what's he say? So this is David Boudin. What's up, man? He was a regular on the MD Noble forums for many, many years. The forums are now gone. Forums were a big, big deal for many, many years. I remember Chad's forum. Chad Nichols had a website with a great forum called Muscle Mayhem. And a lot of us that were on MD started out there because MD forums started a few years after that. And I had a very popular thread on there called Daily Pump Picks. And I brought that over to MD. And at one point on MD, it had, I don't know, it had like 50 million views or something. And it was like 1,000 pages long. And I think they actually had to get rid of most of it at one point because it was clogging up the bandwidth or the website, the server, something. It was clogging up. So, hello, everyone. Varangian Vigilante. Yeah. Jen is here. What's up, Jen? Thank you for joining us. I sent Giles a link. He can actually come on here and talk if he would like. I'd love to have him. Let's see. Oh, you're at the Prague Pro. Yeah, Varangian. I mean, I had fully planned on covering the Prague Pro this past weekend, but we got the news. I got the news the Tuesday before the show. I got the phone call from Steve that he was ceasing the operations for the company. So the last show we ever covered was the Romania Muscle Fest. That was the last show I ever covered for MD. And the week before that was the Olympia. So Olympia, I mean, I went out on a good note. It was a great weekend of coverage. Had Jose Raymond there with me. We did some cool wrap-ups. I got some great interviews. They're still up on the MD YouTube channel. Interviews with people like Derek Lunsford, Samson Dowda, Keon Pearson, Sean Clarita. I got Krizo, Andrea Shaw, multiple 5-time Ms. Olympia now. So it was a good way to, if that was my last contest coverage, which I don't think it is. I think I'll end up at some point covering contests for other people or my own channel. We'll see how it goes. This is there's so many possibilities. It's almost overwhelming. I mean, I made so many contacts. I've been talking to a lot of people. It's just a matter of trying to sort things out and trying to find the best fit at this point. So Roger Lockridge, one of the best writers in the industry. I don't say the best because I don't think there was the best. Peter McGuff was the best, but he's no longer with us. Roger, we had a great talk at the Olympia, at the area of the expo where they were selling all the Olympia gear. Roger writes for Muscle and Fitness. Roger writes for a lot of people. Roger's kind of like I used to be, and hopefully will be again, writing for a lot of different people. He's an excellent writer, and carried on the torch, if you want to call it that. I was probably the person who wrote the most for the most different outlets prior to becoming full-time with MD. I can't even remember half the magazines I used to write for. Obviously, Muscle Mag International, Ironman, T-Mag, Testosterone, Planet Muscle, the late Jeff Averson's magazine, Perillo Performance Press, which was like a monthly newsletter from his supplement company. I had a column in there since 1993 up until a few months ago. Bob Kennedy had some fitness magazines, American Health and Fitness, wrote for that. I wrote for a lot of different magazines. So I had a great run as a writer. I really have no regrets or complaints about that. Raymond Jones, Jen Smith, Team MD was always cohesive and grateful. Oh, I don't think anyone ever talked crap about our team, Jen. I mean, we had a great team and we all worked well together, and we all knew what we had to do, and we got a lot of things done with on a very low budget at times. Continue to work with you, Giles and Lauren. Yeah, we're all gonna work together. Yeah, Mike and Chris too. Can't forget them. Yeah, my friend Chris Griffin, the Goon, was instrumental in many of our contest coverages that we did. The last, say, 4 or 5 years, I guess, when I was at the shows, I would take pictures. So the actual pictures from NPC News Online or even the MD photographer, whoever was in the pit, they would get them up as fast as they could on a website, but they would still have to upload everything and tag the pictures. It took a little while. It would usually take a couple hours, 2 to 4 hours before what you saw on stage ended up on the NPC website or the MD website. But when we were doing contest coverage weekends, I'd be there usually in the front row with my phone on WhatsApp, just taking really good pictures because these are iPhones, have great cameras on them. And I was real nice up close. I would take tons and tons of pictures of the contest as it was happening. And Chris was one of the people that would help put those on the threads. We would have contest coverage threads. So if I was at the New York Pro, it would be like 2020 New York Pro, play by play. And instead of text play by play, where I would just talk about how everybody looked, it would be pictures so you could see it. It was a really cool thing. And Chris helped a lot. Mike Cox helped a lot. And Mike has been instrumental on site at a lot of the shows. Him and his wife, Mandy, were really huge help to me at the Olympia, especially at the Meet the Olympians. I'm walking around with this leg brace on, limping around. They helped out a lot. And, Mike's helped me out at shows like the Tampa Pro because he lives near Tampa many times. Arnold Classic. He's originally from Ohio. Yeah. So Mike's an unofficial member of the team, but to me, he's an official member of the team. Just because somebody never got a paycheck from MD, or it doesn't mean they're not part of the team. Raymond Jones. Hottie fans still have a lot to be grateful for. Well, yeah, he's not injured or anything. He's perfectly capable of going back and attempting to get his title back next year. So it's a bummer for him and his fans that he lost the title, but he's still in a great position. He still has all the tools. I don't know who's going to win the Olympia this coming year, 2024. It's almost a year away, but they should be grateful that, yeah, he's got another chance and he could be Mr. Olympia again. You never know. Dane, it's Ron Harris. That's me. What's up, Ron? Grateful to be back on YouTube. Thank you. Back and going to be better than ever, Dane. Yeah, a lot of things planned. I want to get this, my plan moving forward with this channel, get the subscriptions up, subscriber numbers up, be able to monetize the channel because that's how you get paid on YouTube. You have to be able to monetize and then start getting some sponsors for things. And with that, as that gets going and, Jen's going to be working with me, we can build this channel up and start getting more of the content that MD used to have, maybe some old shows like Dr. T, bring those back to this channel. There's so many possibilities, so many things. The sky's the limit. So, yeah, it's a little scary being in this position right now after being in such a comfortable, and it was a very comfortable position for years, complacent. I was in a comfort zone, totally honest. So easy. Just knew what I had to do, did it. Didn't work that hard. I worked hard when I worked, but I never worked unless it was like a contest coverage weekend. It wasn't, those are the only times I worked long hours, as a writer, as a video producer, whatever, content creator, 4 or 5 hours a day of really concentrated hard work was typical for me. I'm being totally honest and transparent with you guys, but keep the MD community alive. Yeah. We built up a great group of people on the forums, people watching the videos. It still is a community. It's the same people. Everyone's still around. So I would hope a lot of you guys come and join me here. So we have a place to hang out and talk. Keep everything going because we're all still huge fans of the sport, fans of the athletes. We live the lifestyle. I think most of us training, eating like bodybuilders. So I'm very, very much ready and willing to provide somewhere for you guys to go because there are no more forums anymore or anything like that. Big Mike Cox, ready for tomorrow? I'm going to some edibles, get the munchies to pick out. Yeah, I'm ready. So it's my mother-in-law's home. We've been going to my mother-in-law, Caridad, her house for the past few years for Thanksgiving. So it's a mix. It's mostly American food, the traditional, the regular turkey and all that, but they do usually have a couple Spanish dishes, Cuban dishes, like instead of mashed potatoes, they would have yuca. So yuca is very similar to like a sweet potato or mashed potato. It's got to be in the same family of vegetable, but You know, Cubans and Puerto Ricans, Dominicans ate a lot of yuca, not so much potatoes. I don't know if they eat any regular potatoes. We're not going to have like ropa vieja. I don't think we're going to have any Cuban main dishes. It's going to be turkey, ham, the usual stuff. You know, it's a one day, and I'm sure you see all the posts from people who show you how they're still eating perfectly clean even on Thanksgiving. That's great, but you know what? I think if you eat clean most of the time, you certainly can slack one day and eat whatever the hell you want. It's Thanksgiving. If you want to have a couple pieces of pie, you want to have some cake, dessert, whatever the heck they have available for desserts, you know, why deprive yourself? It's just one day. It's the only holiday we have that really centers around eating that I can think of. I can't think of anything else. I mean, 4th of July, a lot of people have barbecues. Labor Day, people have barbecues, but Thanksgiving is really all about a meal. It's about people getting together and eating as a family, or friends have Friendsgiving. Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger dropped by to tell me, love you, bro. Stay blessed. Thank you. You too. Great drama, dude. Angry. Yeah, we had some great time, Mike, on the forums over the years. Some feuds were going. I remember Angry Dave. What does Dave go by? Dave's a few years older than me for sure. He's from New York. We ran into him at the Olympia. He had a big beef with Phil Visicaro on the forums years ago. And I can't remember exactly what the bet was, but I think Phil was getting ready for not New York Pro. He was still trying to turn pro, and I don't know what show it was, USA or Nationals or North American. The bet was that if he didn't turn pro or something, wasn't that what it was? Somebody correct me, because I'm probably wrong. I'm probably remembering this all wrong. He had to leave the forums forever. And whatever happened, whatever transpired, I think it was he didn't win. And he never came back to the forums after that. If I bored you out with a big message, sorry. No, it's okay. Saeed. Speaking of volunteered 7 years in a Greatful MD community, to be born here. Yeah, you know, we had a staff of people, a very small staff of people that actually worked for MD, but then we had a lot of volunteers, people that were moderators on the forums, like Divey. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. It's Gaelic, right? Divey. I'm infamous for mispronouncing things. Theo Leguerre's last name would be a great example. But we had people like that, like Chris Griffin, like Mike, who were unofficial. They contributed so much to the forums over the years. You know, we should have paid them if we had the Giles, I actually sent you a link in your email if you want to come on for a little bit. It's up to you. But I sent you a link in your email. You're glad to join, because Giles can talk all about gratitude, because he's grateful to be alive. He had a heart attack and a triple bypass last year, spring of 2022. So, you know, great perspective of someone who can tell you how you don't appreciate your life and just waking up every day and being alive until you've almost died. And I've never come close to death, knock on wood, but I can only imagine it changes your outlook on everything. Because you realize, geez, I will die. I can, we are all going to die eventually. Our bodies, whatever. There's no denying that. But we're still terrified. I'm terrified of death. But it does make you. Makes you more grateful to be alive, because it's not going to last forever. It's the Stoics. For those of you who follow Stoicism, I was going to get that tattoo, but I got enough crappy tattoos. Memento mori. Memento mori. It's a Latin phrase that the Stoics keep in mind all the time. Is remember that you will die, because it's not to be morbid. It's not to focus on, oh, woe is me. I'm going to die. But it makes you appreciate every day of life, knowing that it's finite, that it's not forever. You're not going to wake up and see the sky and the trees and your dog and your kids and your wife and your friends and silly things like going to a movie and enjoying it, or a concert, or just listening to music that you enjoy. Every little thing that gives you meaning, purpose, and pleasure in life, I think you appreciate it just a little bit more if you know that it's temporary. It's something that's not going to be around forever. You're not going to be around forever. None of us knows the day when we're going to die, unless you're going to kill yourself, or you're scheduled to be put to death or something like that. I don't know. Some extreme example like that. So living every day, they say live every day like it's your last day. But honestly, if you knew it was your last day, your very last day on earth, you wouldn't bother with a lot of trivial things. You wouldn't worry about, you wouldn't be complaining and worrying about this guy's got a Ferrari, or this guy's got 10 hot girlfriends, or he lives in a mansion, or you wouldn't be jealous or anything, because you'd just be so wrapped up in knowing that you have a few hours left on Earth, and you'd want to cherish and probably say goodbye to everybody that meant something to all your loved ones and family and friends and stuff. I imagine I wouldn't hate to be in that position. Giles, Kill Breadcom with their socials. Actually, I'm under contract to Muscle Tech, so I do some work for Muscle Tech. I've been doing. If you don't know who Muscle Tech is, you haven't been around this industry too long. They were a huge powerhouse in the bodybuilding world. MD, when MD was this big, when it was like 450 pages, it was half Muscle Tech ads. But they had all that money, and they were sponsoring so many bodybuilders they had under contract. They had almost everybody under contract at one time or another. Guys like Jay Cutler, Dexter Jackson, Phil Heath. Oh God, Ronnie was never with them, but almost everybody else was. Branch. Was Dennis ever with them? Dennis Wolf? I don't know. We had a ton of people. They had a ton of people. I say I'm not Muscle Tech. So another thing is they're going to be starting a podcast, or they want me to start a podcast. So that's going to be happening within a month or two at the most. Probably roll out around the beginning of the year, and that's going to be focused mainly on their athletes that they have under contract. Guys like Blessing, Chef Rush. I think Jesse's still with them. Jesse Goddard's from. If you watch the show Wrestlers, he's on Instagram and Facebook as Mr. Pectacular. Cool dude. So yeah, Redcon, no, I haven't been with Redcon for a while now. I've been with Muscle Tech since early March of this year. I think March 1st, I signed the contract. So I've been doing writing for them on their website, muscletech.com. If you go to the articles, you'll find some articles of mine. But this is what I'm really, writing and reading. It's not as popular as it used to be. So this is the wave of the future. You'll be seeing podcasts on the Muscle Tech channel eventually. Yeah, I plan to have no real break in my online presence and my YouTube presence. I'm going to still be around, not going anywhere, not retiring. Dane says, you should team up with a stable supplement company with somebody to fund a channel to cover bodybuilding news. Well, yeah, I just said I'm with Muscle Tech, and maybe moving forward, we're going to be talking to potential sponsors, and they usually are supplement companies. Most of the people that sponsor the bodybuilding content, as you have probably noticed, are supplement companies. So, we'll be talking to them, and it's all in the works, guys. So nothing too definite right now. I appreciate all the tips, of course. Following your footsteps, brother. Well, Roger, you're doing a hell of a job, Roger. Hell of a job. You're one of the most prolific writers. I was the most prolific writer for a very long time. I used to have these files, just manila files called writing, 2005. Every year I'd make a different manila folder. And on the front would have just yellow legal pad. And I would write down, I would number each page, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to the bottom. It was like 20, 24, 25 rows on a page. And I would write down the article, the date I turned it in, and what I was billing for it, what I was invoicing for it. This is when I was writing for multiple different publications. And I would do between 200 to 300 articles a year. There's Giles. And add up all the money, and I was making great money. So let's bring on Giles Tiger Thomas, all the United Kingdom. What is up? Yeah. What's that, Batman?
Batman 270 shredded.
Yeah. So, Giles, you put up a really good post. Was it on your Facebook so I can go find it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to find it. Why don't you talk to everybody for a minute while I go look for that?
Was that the one where I did 2022 and then 2023, how it's going?
Yeah, for sure. So,
yeah,
it's, it was a 1 year. It was only a 1 year difference. Let me find you.
Yeah.
I'm going to find. Oh, look at all the people I stalk on Facebook. Yeah.
Why don't we talk about Prague? Because I was there.
Oh, yeah, but I just want to show these people the picture, but let's do that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay, so I want to show people this picture.
Okay. My little mic doesn't work on the on StreamYard for some reason, so I tried plugging it in. So I sound like I've got a bit of a lisp on this mic for some reason, but I don't sound weird.
You do have a lisp. Oh, so okay. So Giles posted this today, I think, right? So
yeah.
That was what, May of 2022 after your heart
Yeah,
attack?
that was in when I had just after I had my surgery in Dublin.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, and that was early this year. But I'm basically back up to that size now because I'm training 5 days a week now. Hardest I've been training since 2014.
Yeah. So I mentioned you earlier. I don't know if you caught it. Where I was talking about perspective, gaining a new perspective on appreciation of life once you've almost lost your life. And I've never been in that position. I've never come close to dying. Well, except for some dumb shit that I've done, like running across highways drunk. But you actually had a heart attack. Your heart was all blocked up. You had a triple bypass.
Mm-hmm.
It's the number one killer of people of men in the world still is heart attack. So
yeah.
How do you look at life a little differently now that you almost lost your life?
Do you know what? Neil Hill asked me this when we were at the Olympia. Sean Ray came up and Neil Hill came up and Neil said, Giles, he says, you must have a completely different perspective on life. And I said, honestly, I think there was a post I wrote before I went to Ireland, and it's the sort of thing you'd expect me to post after everything that happened. So I think I had a pretty good perspective on life even before it happened. Oh, my mate George is messaging. He's going crazy. He loved Prague. Yeah. So yeah, it didn't really change my appreciation because I think I had a good perspective on life before. I definitely expressed gratitude. I knew, like every morning I have a routine where I literally get up and make myself a big espresso coffee, and I basically always stand out in the front garden. I would walk around the back garden, the front garden. I drink my coffee, feed my pet squirrel, and I just stand there for like literally just a minute, 2 minutes sometimes, and I just kind of take in the day. And I take in every day and I appreciate it anyway. So it's kind of not what you want to hear, but I did have a good perspective on life before it happened. So, and it just reinforced it because I think plus at the time, you don't really have much time to reflect when it happened and when I was recovering, because you're so focused on the immediate crisis and then the immediate kind of the aftermath where you're just literally focused on recovering, sleeping, eating and stuff like that. So I didn't really think too much. I was too busy doing because I just wanted to get back on my feet, get back working, get back to the gym and kind of just get my routine and my kind of my sort of purpose back, So I wouldn't say I was very reflective. I'm probably more reflective now than I was last year.
Interesting. Because we talk about, a lot of people, like when they retire or something, they die shortly after because they don't have a sense of purpose. They don't have a reason to keep living. And you've always been someone who stays very busy. You work for multiple multimedia outlets, different people. And, I can sense that you're someone that when you're not productive, you're not busy, you just go out of your mind.
Yeah.
You love staying busy and being productive.
100%. I mean, like last week, obviously that really pulled the rug from under all of us. But I immediately, and last weekend was nice because I had Prague to kind of distract myself and kind of immerse myself in that. And, I didn't have time to really think about it because, these shows are so intense, do you know what I mean? And I was obviously doing live stream all day. But yeah, I'm really someone that needs to be productive. Like in 2021, before obviously Ireland happened, I had like 5-6 different shows. I was writing for MD. I was doing the tours, with the Olympia. What else was I doing? God, the MCing, and I was doing obviously plenty of live stream commentary. So I was working with promoters all over Europe. And I was looking to do more and more and more and more as well, because obviously the island was supposed to be the start of my MC. Oh, Jen's messaging now. It's supposed to be this part of my MC, but unfortunately that didn't go as well as I expected. But to be honest, I don't want to MC anymore because I prefer the live stream hot commentary because that's me in my element. Like last week, I said to him, look, guys, I said to the organizers, sorry if I'm rambling. I said, sorry, guys. I said, can I pick some co-hosts to do this with? And he said, do you have a problem? He said, Giles, leave it. I'll leave it to your discretion. So I got Chris Cormier, George Farah, and AJ.
Wow.
That's the first time me and AJ worked together since 2020. So that was actually, that was a little bit emotional actually, because he messaged me in the morning. He says, bro, he says, you need help with the figure class. I said, yes, I do, because I don't have Lauren with me to help me with the female classes. I mean, I can do it, but I like to do it well, So I said, come on, jump on the figure with me. And then he stayed for bikini, men's physique, and I think for a bit of the open as well. And then I just grabbed George and Chris Cormier. Chris was fantastic. George Farah, I honestly, I thought George Farah was going to be a bit biased, like he sometimes is, but he was fantastic, and we had a really good back and forth. I tried to get Kevin Navrone, but he kept because I've got his number, and he was texting me, and I said, Kevin, I need you for the open. I need you for the open. And he says, they've got me backstage doing awards. He says, I'll try and find you if I can. But then he was just out on stage, and we didn't manage to do it. So, yeah, it was a fantastic day, fantastic. And the promoters are really happy. And straight away, they've invited myself and Lauren back for next year. So I'm very happy about that. And I'm booked for Hungary, Austria. That's all so far. And obviously Sweden and Romania. So I'm going to be busy next year.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to do that for the US shows. I couldn't because I was always either working for MD at the show or I was at home doing remote coverage. So I couldn't really do it. But now, anyone out there listening, I could do it now.
You'd be fantastic, Ron. You'd be absolutely fantastic. Because the thing is now, live stream commentary is really the way that all promoters are having their shows. I mean, to not have commentary is kind of really, it's not the done thing. You've got to have live stream. You've got to have a multi-camera. You've got to have a multi-camera setup, and now you've got to have commentary because that's what people expect. Because a lot of people, because the shows potentially I think are so long and there's so many categories, a lot of people don't really go to shows as much anymore. They have a lot of these pro shows have amateur shows connected to them, and so the a lot of the audience is the amateur show, is the amateur competitors, some of the fans, the family, but you don't kind of get the number turnouts that you maybe, certainly in the UK anyway. So a lot of people like to view from their phones and the convenience of having that for watching live stream commentary. So I think, Ron, you could easily carve yourself out a niche, and you could be away, a couple of times a month at least. So I think you need to actually reach out to some of these promoters, because I think you need to offer your services, because even the amateur shows now. I mean, you could be away. You could be like Bob Chick. You could be away every single weekend, traveling, doing live stream commentary, networking, and also it puts you out in the heart of it and amongst this.
Yeah, I mean, I that's what I miss is this year we were cutting back. Obviously, that was probably should have been a foreshadowing of the company was probably going to be going away, but we cut back this year and didn't go to as many shows. And I really felt the sense of when I was covering the Tampa Pro, I'm like, I should be there. I shouldn't be at home watching a stream and talking about. I like being on site with the athletes, the promoters, the judges, the crowd. Everybody. It's the supplement company owners, everybody that's there. It's a whole different experience. When people say, like Bob Chick, you got to be there. It's not just so that you can appreciate the physiques better in 3 dimensions in front of you. It's for that whole ambiance and atmosphere of being at the competition. That's why people pay, thousands of dollars to be at the Super Bowl when they could easily watch it at home on their 100-inch screen TV in total comfort for free, basically. So I want to bring up some of the judging from Prague here, because you were there and you have a little different perspective. So let me make this.
Yep, I was sat literally right next to the judges, because I was literally sat next to the judge. I was sat next to Steve Weinberger's lady. And like I said, I was sat there with my headphones and the mic, and I saw everything.
Okay, so I have to go to present. Let's take a look. This is from Krizo's website, our YouTube channel. So here we go. All right. So this was the top 4. Looks like where's Rubiel? Where's NexZilla? You can't see him. Now we're seeing Samson, Krizo, and Nathan. I don't know why they didn't. Oh, he's over there he is. So, I mean, everybody was talking about NexZilla because this was his pro debut. Did you cover the amateur the day before as well?
Well, I got there for the finals, but at the pre-judging, because he was on in the morning, I was traveling over at that time. So I was seeing all the videos and the photos online. I was like, God, he looks good. But when I got there, I went and sat at the front, because there's some tables there with all the sponsor tables, and the guest tables were actually in front of the judges. So I basically went over and me and AJ went and sat down, just chatting and catching up. And then I got a tap on my shoulder, and it was Chris Cormier and George Farah. So I gave him a big hug and everything. And they were like, God, Giles, you got to see, Rubiel and everything. I was like, yeah, I can't wait to see him, Yeah. And then he came out on stage, and I just went, fucking hell. I just blurted it out, and then I looked back, And Steve Weinberger was laughing and he was nodding as if to say, "I know, I completely understand." Because I thought I was going to get the evil eye, but he was just like, he just kind of looked at me to say, "Yeah, I'll let you off that one." But I couldn't believe what I was seeing in the flesh. He's 282, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
He's a monster. He's a monster, and everyone is talking about this guy. In fact, I was getting inquiries about whether I'd want to do a tour with him. I mean, the guy is. Yeah, tour with him in the UK. They said, he said, one guy today rang me today. He said, "I'll take him definitely, Giles." He says, "Let me know if you want to do a tour with him." He said, "We'll book him." So, and he's a nice kid as well. He's 28 years old. He's a nice kid. George Farrar said he eats very little.
So is George his coach?
Well, he claims to be.
It's hard to say. Okay.
I think Chris is looking after him. Chris has been training him since I think it's about a year, he said, because he said, Giles, he said, "I saw Rubiel." He said, "When I first saw him a year ago," he says, "I wasn't blown away." He says, "I wasn't that impressed." He said he had no chest or back. He said he was just, a funky structure. And he said, he's created most of that physique in like the space of a year, just because he said he got him training properly and all that. But my God, and the second day for the pro show, he really dried out as well, and he looked really, really good. Because I said to him, I said, if he can dry out, I said, he could beat Nathan, and he did.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm still looking at Nathan. I think Nathan has a better structure. Yeah. Has better balance as far as upper body, lower body, and all that. Better flow to the physique. Yeah. Rubiel is a freak. In my mind, I don't know if I would have put Rubiel ahead of Nathan. You definitely saw it as a clear case of him justifiably beating him?
I wasn't shocked. I knew it was, and if you look at the score sheets, it was close. Like first was unanimous, second was unanimous, but third and fourth, it was like it was literally just a few points in it. So it could have gone either way. But tell you what, Nathan looked really, really good. His midsection was nice and tight. I tell you what, when you see him in the flesh, his chest and especially his shoulders are absolutely astronomical. I mean, my jaw was hanging. So I thought this is because I kind of thought Chris was going to get second, because Chris was very good. He was very conditioned. He was a little bit fuller than he was at Olympia. Yeah. But third and fourth, it could have gone either way, and I wouldn't have argued. Like with Hadi and Derek, I wouldn't have argued if it had gone either way at Olympia. Yeah.
So Samson, you covered Romania. Were you remember? No, you weren't there. But
I wasn't there. I saw the live stream.
We actually covered it together, and you saw. You said that Samson didn't seem that enthused to be there. He didn't seem to have his usual mojo and confidence up on stage. Did he get that back for this show?
100%. And if you listen to the live stream, I acknowledge that. And I was like, as soon as he came out, he was like he was at the Olympia. He was full of energy and it was basically, I was like, yes, I'm glad. And he maintained it as well. His routine was electrifying. He was really he really wanted to finish this year with a bang. So, Steve Weinberger did ask him. I've actually got a video. He did ask him after the show if he was going to do Japan. And then we went back to the owner's house in the 17th century Czech. That was called a castle. It's just this big chateau, beautiful, old house, ancient old house where we went last year. And they have food laid on and drink and stuff, and everyone kind of comes back. Yeah. And I got my food and a glass of wine, and I was walking back. And Samson was sat down literally, and he just looked so tired. And I said, I leant over and I said, "Samson, mate, please tell me you're not doing Japan." He says, "Giles, I'm absolutely exhausted." He says, "No." He said, "That's me. This is me done for the year now." He says, "I'm really, really tired." He said, this really took this last one and extending the prep. He said, really took it out of me. So I said, good. I said, you need to shut it down, have some rest now. And get ready for the Arnold's in the Arnold UK, because that's another 450 grand he can win if he wins those two shows as well.
Yeah, he's looking phenomenal. But NexZilla is the talk. He was the talking point because we've seen Samson, and people love the new flavor, the new the new sensation. This guy, he did sort of come out. Oh, I got to get rid of that now. Let's stop the screen. I don't want to give Nordstrom any free ads. But so he came out of nowhere in the sense that the European fans knew who he was because he's been in the Elite Pro for a couple of years. But I never heard of this guy. The only thing I ever heard about him was Kit Sanderson from MD Latino about 2 years ago. He wanted me to interview him just because of his neck. And I said, dude, I don't want to interview somebody just because they have a big neck. I mean, how long is that conversation going to last? So I never reached out to him and never did anything with him. But people are talking about him now as if he's a future
Everyone.
Olympia, future this and that. And he's very good, but I see you and I, we call it like we see it. We point out things that people have, things that they lack. Structurally, he does have a wider waist. He doesn't have very wide clavicles. I don't know what you can do he can't fix that. That's your bone structure. His shoulders kind of look narrow because his neck is so massive and his traps are so massive. I always tell people, unless you have super wide shoulders and big, wide clavicles and massive shoulders, don't go crazy building up your traps. It's going to take away from that width. Yeah. I don't know. For those of you who are wrestling fans out there, the one that unfortunately married his wife, and Chris Benoit was a pro wrestler. I don't know if you know who he was.
Yeah, met him
from Canada, from Quebec. He had this crazy neck and these huge traps, and he looked like he was shoulders were about that wide. And it was because of that, because he had a lot of muscle on him, but he wasn't like bodybuilder size. So I always caution people: what could this guy do if you were taking him on as a coaching client, or just he came to you for advice? This is third place. It's a great pro debut, but if he eventually wants to do well at a show like the Olympia, the Arnold Classic, he's got some work to do. What would you tell Rubiel he needs to work on?
That is just his structure. I mean, remember we said about Phil Heath when he first came on, said he's not wide across the clavicles. So basically, he just put so much thickness on and got in such great condition, you don't even notice it. I mean, you see the guys with the great, like Samson, with nice shoulders and waist ratios, but Rubiel's just how he's put together. But I tell you what, yeah, that is the best side tricep since Dorian Yates. I mean, his side tricep was a showstopper. I mean, he won that shot over everyone. Samson, all of them, Crizzo. His side chest was incredible. He kind of reminds me of like a cross between Bertel Fox and Victor Richards. And I wouldn't mind seeing him up against Carlos Thomas Jr. as well, because that's another new kind of up and comer. But I mean, he wasn't even like shredded dry. And you say he's got a thick waist, but he's got beautiful abs.
Yeah,
I mean, that is really. I mean, he looks nothing like that now. I mean, he looks completely different now.
Oh, this was an elite show, right?
Yeah, that's old. I mean, he's
old, right?
He's transformed now. His chest and back are just like on the next level now. But I mean, his conditioning was obviously good enough to get third, but he just had that freak factor. The legs, oh my God! Chris Cormier sent me a video this morning on WhatsApp of him on the treadmill, just zooming in on his calves. And I said to Chris, why don't my calves look like that?
Yeah. Condition, because I saw an elite show from maybe a year ago, and he was 6 weeks out at best in terms of what I would like to see in condition. So that's one thing he's figuring out is the conditioning aspect of his back. His back doesn't look that bad to me. It actually looks pretty good. It's good.
I had no issues with his back. He's not. Oh, bugger off, my cousin. He's not missing anything. He's not missing anything. He's on his bugger off. He's on his way. He's really on his way with his physique. Yeah, like I said, another. I've got a feeling he will do the New York Pro.
Yeah, New York Pro. I mean, what about Arnold? If I were him, he doesn't. It's not like he needs a bunch of size. He doesn't need to take an off season to try to put size on it. Would you, if you were him, would you apply for the Arnold Classic? Because it's coming up. They're going to have to send out. They're going to come out with the Arnold list in a couple of weeks, I think. Probably like early or mid-December at the latest.
No, I think he needs a little bit more time. He needs a bit more time. Yeah, I think plus he's got to sort out things like, I think he wants to move to America from Colombia and he wants to train out there, and he needs to get a few things in place first, and build up maybe a few more sponsors or something like that, and kind of just build on this hype that he's generated from last weekend.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely the most exciting thing. Carlos Thomas was a great debut, but we knew about Carlos because he turned pro at the Nationals. These people that come over from Elite, we don't hear much about them because we don't give any publicity to Elite. It's not a cool thing to do. The IFBB Pro League doesn't appreciate it because they're basically Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Coca-Cola doesn't promote Pepsi and vice versa. But he's someone that those legs, my God. I don't know if I'm trying to figure out if those are bigger than Rami's. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Chris Cormier rang me last night, and he said, I'm telling you, Giles, he said, I've trained Rami. He says, I've seen those legs up close. He said, Rubiel's are more impressive.
Wow.
And he's just at the start. He's 28 years old. I mean, I mean, Chris said he got him training properly. He said when he was training, he said he was like his reps were choppy and a bit sloppy, and he got them. He says, look, you got to, showed him how to sort of properly perform a reps and stimulate the muscle rather than just moving weight. And he said his body was he's just responding like daily. He said it blew his mind. And this is just the beginning. I mean, another year or two. And you know what? I mean, he doesn't speak a lot of English, but I did speak with him, and I got a nice vibe from him. I didn't get a sort of, he seemed like a sort of quite calm, chilled kid, and and it's funny because he was sat next to me, and he had his baggies, and his legs looked like that of like an obese person, where they were that big. And you just thought, but they're like ripped up, I mean, obviously they can get a lot more detail. And Chris said to me, he says, Giles, I'm going to get some deep cuts in his legs. He said, you watch. He said, I'll get him training properly. He says, and for next show, he said, I will get some really deep cuts in his legs. He said, he's going to look sensational. Another 6 months with me.
Cool.
So,
yeah, he's done a good job. I mean, Cormier did a good job with Breon. Who else did he work with? He's worked with a few people. Certainly has. Is that Chris right there? That's Chris, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we went up onto the Sky Bar, me, Chris, AJ, and everything on the Friday night, and we had a tequila shot together. I hate tequila.
Tequila makes women do bad things. But stop the screen. So when I get to
I was like, no, I don't want tequila. And they were like, no, you got to do it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do one.
Mike Cox says NexZilla is a supersized Phil Hill. Do you remember Phil Hill, Giles?
Of course I do. Yeah, of course I do.
He wasn't around very long. He was
I
don't want to say flash in the pan or shooting star, but I think he did like 3 or 4 pro shows, and then we never saw him again.
Yeah, won the Night of Champions, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He won. So he turned pro at the same nationals that Sean Ray did. Sean won the overall, but Phil won the heavyweight. There was no super heavy division yet. He had these massive quads too, and he had a big thick neck, from what I remember.
Yeah, that's not bad. He's this Rubiel he's something else. I mean, it's like I said, it's like when Ramy came along, when Nick Walker hit the pros, when we had Crizzo last year. He's the latest kind of sensation now, and I mean, it's just, I think it's all going to happen for him now. So I'm thinking is, once he gets some, a couple more contracts in place and some, even more support, I think we're really going to see this kid improve.
Well, you can see that I'm a Rubiel hater. That's what Raymond says.
Raymond. I mean, we have to hate somebody different each week. So
who could I hate next? I always think about who could I hate next. That's all I think about. But no, I'm not a hater. I just point out things with there never has been a perfect physique in bodybuilding ever. Even the greatest, closest physiques to perfection. I probably like Flex Wheeler. I think Chris Cormier was up there too. He doesn't get a lot of love. We've had people that were very close, but there was always something that you wish they had that they didn't have, or some body part that could have been a little better, some aspect of physique that could have been better. And that's what we do, guys. We critique, we analyze. We're not here to just say everyone looks great. I don't know who's going to win because they all look the same to me. If we had that type of delivery, it wouldn't be very helpful to anybody, because part of what we try to do is make you guys understand why the judging works the way it does, what the judges are looking for, what attributes, characteristics, because regular people will see someone like Rubiel, and I put up a picture on my Instagram, that one picture where he's backstage, and I had 7,000 likes on it so far, and a lot of the people said next Mr. Olympia, better than Ronnie, better than Phil Hill. I'm like, oh.
Not quite.
Slow down.
Not quite. Not yet. Let's see.
28 years old. He's been a pro for 4 days, 3 days. Give this kid some time. I think he can work on his shoulders, get his shoulders bigger. Triceps are great. Maybe a little more bicep, just because those legs. Anytime someone's got like monstrous upper body, they need to have monstrous legs. And that's usually what I criticize is, I wish this guy had more quads. I say that all the time, like Andrea Presti. I always say that about him, not just him, a lot of people. And in this case, it's the legs that are just dominant. You cannot take your eyes off those legs. And I always say the best physiques, you shouldn't have any one area of their physique that you can't stop looking at. Like, oh my God, those arms. Oh my God, that back is ridiculous. Everything should be. And I point out people like Cormier and Flex Wheeler, I'd say, or Lee Labrada. What was Lee Labrada's best body part? what was Chris Cormier's best body part? What was Flex Wheeler's?
Example.
And people sit there and go, I don't know. You can't think because everything was perfectly in proportion to everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's supposed to be. Let's see. Most dangerous for Nick Walker. Well, guys can't worry about just one other bodybuilder because they're all trying to beat every other bodybuilder in the world. Do they want freaks now? Yeah. Gio, New Beginning. How do you really know if you have wide, small clavicles? Oh, it's easy. So feel right here. There's a bone right here. That's your clavicle bone. That's where your shoulders end. You know, anything, you're not going to get that bone. If you've ever broken a clavicle, you know exactly what a clavicle is. It's over here. So you can't make these any wider. Everyone is born with a certain bone structure. That's it. You cannot change your bones. Although guys are having their legs broken and extended to become taller. I'm not doing that, by the way. But it's the framework that you start with that everything flows from. Wide shoulders, narrow hips, and a torso that's not too long or too short, and arms and legs that aren't too long or too short. You want this ideal framework, and then you build on that. So ideally, you would have these super wide clavicles, and then every bit of muscle that you put on. I've noticed some people have done such a great job, like Phil Heath. They didn't even realize that their clavicles. Phil didn't have narrow clavicles. He sort of had average clavicles. But you look at someone like a Dennis Wolf or a Derek Lunsford, how wide their shoulder span is. That's a bone structure thing. So,
yep.
I don't know where the hell I was going with that. Everyone's talking about Rubiel now, of course. Good seeing Giles and AJ together. Yeah, they did a show. Oops, we need to put up the hater picture now. No, it's all right, Jen. People know it. The hater cartoon that Jen found, or she didn't make that cartoon, right? She found it somewhere. Yeah, she's not. Are you do you draw, Jen? I can't remember.
I think there's me and AJ might be doing some more live streaming together as well next year.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly passionate. He loves the sport. He's been doing good work for the Fouad channel.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems very happy, and I can't get over how much weight he's lost. He looks incredible.
Yeah, he was about 400 pounds at one point, I believe.
Something like that. I mean, he was like up there because he's 6'5", but I think he's said he's lost 68 pounds or something like it's like 35, 30.
I barely recognize him.
Kilos.
Face was like half as wide.
Yeah, he's obviously going to be a lot healthier as well. But he looks, he's just, I was like, wow. I said to him before we started, because you have the volume thing in front of you, so in between you can turn it down, and when you've got the mic in your hand, you won't pick up. I said, mate, honestly, you look fantastic. I said, fair play to you, because I mean, he rings me sometimes when he's doing his hour cardio in the morning. Do you know what I mean? And he's obviously worked hard at that. So full credit to him for that.
This is interesting. Rubiel looks like a myostatin negative cow. The Belgian blue. Now I got to find a picture of that.
Yeah, he is. No, he does. Honestly, it's like this kid. I mean, he's just a sensation, absolute sensation. Great way to end the year as well. It's nice to see that kind of like end the year with a bang, And also, I was really happy because I wouldn't say I was instrumental, but I really tried to get Samson and Nathan to do the show. So I was really on to them. I said, please, come on, you got to do this, because the promoters really wanted them to do it. Because obviously two big names like that, otherwise it just would have been a bit of a cakewalk for Crizzo,
Yeah.
So it really added, because it was a much better lineup than last year. In fact, all the lineups, all the categories, they had figure, bikini, classic, 212, they were all really, really stacked. And I thought Zagarella in second as well looked really good as well.
So these are the Belgian blue cows. Yeah. Try to zoom in on one. Oh, how do I do that? Oh, what the heck? Dude, I'm the worst. Anyway, yeah. These massive, it just goes over to the right. But yeah, so that's what happens when an animal, a mammal, lacks this myostatin gene. Muscle growth goes unchecked. And these cows don't work out. They don't lift weights. That's what happens from their genetic expression or lack of expression of this myostatin gene.
Maybe he's got a field full of them next to where he lives, and he just shoots one and then just eats it.
There have been very few cases, genuine medically verified cases of myostatin deficient human beings. But I do remember there was a little boy in Germany. He's got to be in his 20s by now, because this is a long time ago. They never showed his face because they were protecting his privacy. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he didn't look like a bodybuilder. He was thickly. He had these big calves, big quads, and he was like 2 years old. And they said one time he picked up the couch and flipped it over or something. He was like, a 30-pound toddler. He flipped over the couch because he was just super strong. But I think we do have people that must have lower amounts of myostatin or something, because Rubiel, I know what to look for. Did you see the before and after with Rubiel?
Yeah, I saw that. Everyone's talking about it.
I had that the other day up, and he's 5 years ago. 5 years ago, he looked like a normal person, a normal guy in the gym. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I bet he was 170 pounds. He looked like a gymnast. He certainly was not a big guy. You would walk right past him in the gym, and to go from that to this 282-pound freak in the span of 5 years, I don't care what PEDs you have access to. You have to have something genetically exceptional or very rare about you to be able to do that. That is not something that most human beings could ever possibly achieve. Yeah. Even if they had 500 years, not 5 years. Yeah, I always say that. Maybe if I could become a vampire, I'd have time to get big, but it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened in 40 years of training. It's not going to happen in 400 years. Okay, here's a dig on Vito. Rubiel already did more IFBB Pro shows than Vito. Ooh, that's true. Well, good Vito. What, did he bust his knee jumping off a stage or something?
Oh, I can't remember. I something like that. Something like that. I'm not feeling the Vito hype train, to be honest.
No, if I did not. Dane suggesting I'm getting that limb lengthening. Now, I'm 54 years old. It's too late for me to become 6'2". Even if I could do it, I'm like, what's the point now? Jen says, did not know the hater picture. I like that. From Adobe. AJ impression. Brawl. That's a good one. You know who did the best AJ impersonation was Hector Mendoza, the cameraman.
Yeah.
He did it perfectly. Like, if you were on the phone, you probably would have thought it was AJ.
He was a fanboy, wasn't he?
I think he actually called me up a couple times pretending to be AJ. I said, I could see it's your number, Hector. You're not fooling me. Would you say the Prague Pro was the third best show this year after the Olympia and the Arnold?
Romania is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had some good shows. Some of those Europe shows were very, very competitive.
They're very high standard. When the Americans and overseas guys come over, they're really, really pleasantly surprised at how good they are. I mean, obviously Romania is run by Americans, really. I mean, you've got Jake, Alina. Obviously, Elena's from Romania, but she lives out in Nevada and stuff. But and obviously the Wings of Strength team are American mostly. But I mean, like the Spain shows, the Portugal show, Romania. There's a lot of good amateur promoters as well. Hungary, Sweden, and they're all Ireland as well. Muscle Contest Ireland. Obviously, they've come over to sort of put shows on. But absolutely. The European shows very, very, very high standard. Most of them.
Cool. Well, I'm going to be wrapping it up soon. I want to give you the chance, Giles. Are you going to get your channel going? Is it on the rise?
I don't know yet. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, people are asking me. I'm very grateful that people are concerned, and but I'm getting a million messages like, what's next? Where are you going? I'm weighing options. I'm talking to a lot of different people, so I don't want to say anything right now. But I'm not going away. You're not going away. This is what we do.
Well, I'm working on a few things already. Yeah. I'm sure people can guess, but I won't say yet because I haven't finalized a few things. But I've been moving pretty quickly on this. Yeah. Because, like you said, I'm someone that's used to being extremely busy, and I don't want to, especially in the winter. There's, and it's otherwise it's a good way to sink fast and just feel like crap, and I've got no time for that, Like you said, after last year, I'm not looking to waste any time or any of my life on sort of not being productive and busy and having an aim, and something to go after every morning. Because otherwise life gets pretty shitty pretty quickly. So there's no way that's going to happen to me. And
it's funny how so many people, I'm sure it's a worldwide thing, not smart, they fantasize about not having to work ever again. Like, I wish I could win the lottery. I wish this or that. But I think, even a few days, it hasn't been a week. It has been a week now since I've been out of work. But it's just to sit around with like nothing that you have to do. To me, I feel just like useless. I feel like, oh my, I want to be doing something. It's not that I want to work per se, but I like to be productive and get things done. I don't want to just sit around and watch. How much freaking Netflix can you watch? Or
I mean, literally, we don't sit down to watch TV until 10:30 at night, and then it's an hour. Yeah, I might watch a little bit through the day with the show I like to watch, like this news show, and but that's just when I'm eating for like 5 minutes every time I eat, you know. So, and then, you know, but I just this is the time we plan. You know, it was like Brandy Curry said to me. She says during the pandemic when it all kicked off, she said, Giles, she says the smart people right now are the ones that are planning, not just sat at home doing nothing while we're all under house arrest. She said this is where you plan for when we emerge through the other side. This is what we do now. Yeah. Get busy.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I know it's not that late. It's only 6 o'clock for you now. Yeah. Is this normally when you normally go to the gym right about now, don't you?
It's 6 o'clock. I'm going to eat now, but I go to the gym a little bit later. I go about 8:30. I haven't trained since last Friday actually. It's last Thursday because obviously I was away, but training has been going really, really well at the moment. Actually, even my chest is starting to get stronger now because obviously I had the surgery, and for about a year, obviously, well, a year at least, I just couldn't get any pump or feel or strength going on it. And then a few weeks ago, I decided enough was enough, and I really started pushing the weights up, and my body's been playing ball, so I'm very happy about that.
For those who don't know, Giles has a scar from about here to here, massive, like they took a machete and just hacked him apart. It's awful. But
me and Ed Connors were comparing zipper scars.
Oh, does he have the same? Does he have the bypass scar?
He had a triple bypass. Yeah.
Okay. Probably had it a little later in life than you did, I would imagine.
He was in his 50s, I think he said. He said a while ago. Yeah, he said he was out for 3 months like I was, and so we compared notes about that, and because he didn't have the heart attack thing. He just basically started feeling tired after about 20 minutes training, and then he went in, had it checked, and they said, "Oh God, you know, you need this, otherwise something bad's going to happen." So, but Ed Connors as well. There's new book, 3 Muscle Tears. I heard some nice stories from him because all the hundreds of athletes, John Cena, Jay Cutler, Flex Lewis. All these different people he's helped over the years. So really interesting guy, lovely guy.
Yeah, I had him online, and he gave me that. He sent me an electronic copy that I read that book. It was pretty interesting. How he got the history of the gym. You know, the Gold's Gym story I'd love to read someday is like the behind the scenes of all the gossip and the dirt with all these stars, but I don't know who's going to write that book. I can't. I wasn't around that long ago in that scene, but cool guy. And that gym had 400 to 5. I think they had 500 franchise locations at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not like a Planet Fitness where it's just like cheap equipment and this and that. They had standards that every franchisee had to meet in terms of space, equipment, all that stuff. So yeah, I belonged to probably about eight or so Gold's Gyms over the course of my life.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Including Venice. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Giles, I thank you so much for joining. We will be working together again, guys, either on this channel or some other channels. We're just too great of a team to break up. We can't break up the team. Of course, Jen, very vital part of the team, still with us. So we didn't go anywhere, guys. We're all moving on to different things, but we're going to be still a vital part of the industry. You'll be seeing plenty of us, and we appreciate your support. We appreciate you following us and being here, because we are a community. The people that were on the MD forums all those years, we became friends. A lot of us have never met in real life, but I feel like I know a lot of you guys out there.
I miss the forums, because I used to check in there several times a day, and I've been on that since 2008. Yeah. So it's a shame they shut it down immediately like that, because it didn't even give us a chance to sort of connect and say goodbye or anything, So I kind of feel like a little bit lost, because I'm used to speaking to these people, It's like, this is doing stuff like this is great, because at least it means we can converse, and the MD members and stuff can sort of come on and find a place and to sort of talk, especially with these lives. I mean, these are great.
So guys, if you want to make sure you don't miss any of these, I hope you're subscribed to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Put on notifications on YouTube and on your phone, iPhone or Android, or whatever the heck you have for a phone. There's Galaxies. There's all kinds of phones these days. Put on your notifications, and we're going to be doing more of these. We're going to be doing different kinds of content as the channel grows, and I can do more things. So please stay tuned. Appreciate everything. Appreciate you guys being with us on the chat too. And if you're in the USA, have a happy Thanksgiving. If you're somewhere else, just have a happy day, I guess. Yeah. So that's it. Thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate it, and I'll see you soon. End stream. Awesome.